Welcome, everybody. Hey, Chris Ward again, coming to you straight from Denver, Colorado. I'm super excited because I want to move straight on before our announcements at the end to get our very special guest speaker who's taking time to reach out and share with the team what he's doing to have all the success he is. He's no stranger to LegalShield with over, I think, 13 years now with the company, 150 months in Performance Club. So he's staying consistent with everything. I'd like the Teams Make Dreams family. I'd like to give a warm welcome to Mr. Brad Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I am awesome, Chris. Thank you so much. And, I'm not reaching out. I'm just reaching back because it was actually Kai Deering that hit me up on Facebook earlier this week. And she said, hey, would you mind? And I'm like, would I mind what? And she said, well, would you mind helping out on our team call on Sunday night? I said, I'd be honored. And, I thought it was, Kai's team call, and Kai and Moira and I have run into each other many times at convention. And so I'm like, that's really cool. And she goes, no. Like our whole team call. I'm like, you want me to talk to Teams Make Dreams? Oh my gosh. So hello, everybody, from Barrie, Ontario, Canada, just about an hour north of Toronto, which is just an inch north of Buffalo if you take a look at it on a map. We're coming to you live from our home. I'm actually sitting at our dining room table, a place that we've had many, many Performance Club dinners recognizing our team for their efforts. And, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me take you back. Who am I and the training that I want to share with you, I'm going to kind of weave my story into as we go. But let's take back about 18 years ago. I didn't know this company existed. I was full-time employed about an hour and a half away, one way. So in other words, I got up in the dark and I came home in the dark and I cleaned my car off twice a day in the winter to go build somebody else's dream, and drove in crazy traffic behind school buses and snowstorms and blizzards and sleeting rain and whiteouts and goofy stuff in the winter. And one day I put my hand on top of the steering wheel and I turned it, and I had to put my other hand on top of the steering wheel, and it's all I could do to turn the corner that I had to turn. And I said, I just can't do this anymore. I was what I call asleep behind the wheel. In other words, I was going through the motions. I was showing up at my house. The headlights would come up on my garage door, and I'd look at the garage door, and I was in this cold sweat of panic going, how did I get here? I don't remember what road I took. I don't remember whether I stopped at the stoplight or drove through the stop street or what I did. It was like, I know I left work and I know I'm here. Couldn't tell you how I got from point A to point B. That's an hour and a half of driving, literally in remote mode. And I was like, something's got to change. So I started a small franchise. I had two little girls at the time. I was married to my now ex-wife. Something had to change. I had to get out of this rat race. And so I understood the concept of duplicating a system that somebody else had made work. I figured if they was smart enough to make it work in their town, I was smart enough to make it work in my town. So I got this little franchise up and going. I had two stores, one on the east side of the interstate. We don't call it an interstate up here, but for all you guys, and one on the west side of the interstate, because people in my town are goofy. They won't drive to the other side of town. But anyway, so I had two little stores, staff of 25 people, and this guy that was an absolute stranger to me comes in and drops a CD. Now, this will tell you it was 18 years ago, so we didn't have DVDs. It was a little after the cassette tape, okay? I'm not that old. But the idea was he drops me a CD and he says, listen to this. It'll help your business and it'll save you money. That's your first point. And he takes my business card and he leaves. And that was his presentation. As God's my witness, that was his presentation. It was 10 o'clock at night. I was still in my store thinking I owned my business when really the business owned me. And I popped the CD into my dashboard on my way home in my used minivan, feeling extremely successful. And I listened to this Get Paid Daily audio that said, you can have the dreams and here's our product and unlimited access to the legal system. And I did one of these. I'm like, I'm skeptical. Because I was just at the very, very beginning of a divorce. My ex decided she didn't want to do this anymore. I had an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old little girl. And I said, well, that's fine. If you don't want to be married to me, I still want to be dad to those two little girls. And I won't bore you with the details. It took me 4.5 years to get divorced, 4 different court cases, lots of experts to say that I wasn't a bad guy and all kinds of nonsense. And you know, I stopped counting at $100,000 that I'd put on my credit cards, begged, borrowed, and stealed from friends and family. My parents super supportive, and I quit counting on $100,000. And 4.5 years later, I got my kids 50% of the time. It was a landmark case in Canada, and it was LegalShield's lawyers that got me my kids. So when I say that this membership changes people's lives, I'm not kidding. So for those 4 or 5 years, I was just a member. I didn't know anything about a business opportunity. This guy showed up. It was 10 o'clock at night. I later learned that he was doing his 2 a day. He hadn't got his second exposure in. He went out to buy smokes or milk or whatever at the little convenience store that was right next to my store, and he popped in and gave me a CD, and he counted that as his 2 a day. Well, he's made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars off that second exposure. But whatever, I was just a victim of 2 a day. But it changed my life, and I bought the membership. So for 5 years, I was just a member, but it was working for me. There was tons of stuff that I used the law firm for above and beyond my LegalShield, my divorce. I used my LegalShield, them prepaid legal lawyers for, and it was working for me. So when my customers in my store would come in and tell me what the heck was going wrong with their life, and they'd, you know the drill. When you ask somebody how they are, and you wish you could take your words back because they tell you, that was what I was doing, except they were my customer. I couldn't walk away from them. And I said, listen, you need a lawyer, call this guy. You need a lawyer, call this guy. I think this guy can help you, call this guy. And it's what we normally do anyways. We just do referral marketing. And so I referred for 5 years my customers in my store to the guy that sold me my membership. He signed them up. The lawyers would help them. They'd come back into my store and thank me for, the hookup. And I was like, wait a minute, somebody's making money here somewhere. And so fortunately, I say, because I didn't pick up the phone, the guy came back and finally shared with me the business opportunity. And I'm like, wait a second. You got paid over $200 5 years ago when I bought my membership. I've kept the membership. The law firm's done all the work. I ain't heard from you in 5 years, and you just showed me that you've made $50 a year in residual income for doing zip. Sign me up. I didn't even ask what the sign-up fee was. I just told me to sign me up as the best business model I'd ever seen. Raving fans sending him customers on a regular basis. I was like, holy crap. I paid $249. I would have paid way more than that. And we got started. So I'm now living on my own. I got my kids 50% of the time. I'm now dating Moira, who's now my wife, but we were dating at the time. She's living out of her house. She's got her daughter. And so now the 3 of us have 3 daughters. Anybody that knows anything about daughters knows that that's just drama. And we're living out of 2 houses and trying to date. I've got a full-time job. She's got a full-time job. I still got my staff of 25 employees at 2 different locations. And I come home with this concept of LegalShield and say, hey, honey, if we don't do something different, we're never going to get something different. And I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I am exhausted. I'm asleep behind the wheel. We don't have any time for us. And this is never going to work. And she looked at me and she's like, you have this legal plan the whole time we've been dating? How come you didn't say anything? I'm like, I might have needed it, So a little bit of fun and funny there. Anyway, we got started. And 18 months later, we were making more money with LegalShield on a part-time basis, because obviously we weren't doing it full-time because we didn't have any time, than she was making at her full-time job. So in 18 months, we completely replaced her income working part-time. We were idiots on fire. We had no idea what we were doing other than the fact that the membership worked for me. And so she says to me, it's tax time. She goes, can I quit? I'm like, well, if that's what they're going to pay us part-time, imagine what they pay us full-time. And I'm going to show you guys that later. So stick around all the way to the income example. And so we transitioned. It took us about 3 months. She shut down her business. We retired her. She stayed home with our 3 kids, which was both of our dreams, to be able to stay home and raise our kids. So for 13 years, Chris, as you said, I've been in the company for 13 years. We have literally been stay-at-home parents. We have not missed family dinner. I've been the only dad in some cases, the only couple sitting at the sidelines in the gym while the daughters play, ringette and basketball. They got involved in ultimate frisbee. Jessie burned herself so badly one year that I thought she was a tomato. And so we're, out in the football field watching her play ultimate Frisbee. But we were there supporting our kids. And they had a dress competition. They raised money for the United Way. And they invited all the parents to come. Well, guess what? We live in a bedroom town. All the parents commute. So here's me and 3 other people that we recruited as parents that are on our team. We're the only parents sitting there watching our kids do this talent show on stage, wearing all these dresses and doing all kinds of stuff for the United Way. And it was like, that's really cool. We're the only parents there, but we haven't missed anything. Back to a Jim Rohn line. He says, don't miss anything. So we've built our business for 13 years in a way that I could have made a whole lot more money if I built it differently. But the thing that was important to me was in these 13 years, because I can't get those years back. All 3 of our girls now are off in university. They get into the very first university of their choice. They get into the program of their choice. They graduated, out of high school. And with the crazy exes that we've had and the challenges that we've had, and in today's economy, nobody's pregnant. Nobody's got a criminal record. They all graduate and they're all in university. I think that's called a success story. And I still have hair. Check it out. And so, so we could have built our business differently. We could have made more money, but we built it our way. There hasn't been without its challenges. A bunch of years ago, we built our business, and, we're just doing what we were told to do, following the system. And Moira went in for emergency surgery. Well, she went in for what was supposed to be a checkup, and 4 hours later found out she was in emergency surgery, and life changed on a heartbeat. It was the 1st of December, and all of a sudden now I am Mr. Mom. We hadn't done any Christmas shopping. I'm primary caregiver to my wife who's laying on the couch, can't move. And I literally made 3 or 4 phone calls to our top leaders. And I said, guys, you're going to have to do this one alone this month. I can't take on any more. This is insane. I still had a full-time job. I said, so you guys are kind of on your own. You know what you're doing. And I've taught you everything like call me if there's a super dire emergency, but we're out. And fortunately, we were already a month ahead in Performance Club. So that's the second note. If you're taking notes, always be a month ahead in Performance Club so that when stuff happens, you can recover. So Moira and I had sold 2 memberships that month. We made $500 as executive directors in Canada. You get paid about $250 for a membership. So we made $500, but LegalShield put $6,500 in our bank account that month from the work that our team did, and we were not involved. We weren't on a team call. We were out. Okay, it was emergency surgery, and I was looking after her. And that's when I went, wow, this leverage thing really works. Like I'd felt it before, but I didn't feel it at any level until that one hit. I was like, this is cool. And so we doubled down our efforts, and we've gone, both of our exes took us back to court in the middle of all this. So how do you hide a really good salary to make yourself look like, everything's good and golden? And it wasn't easy. It wasn't difficult. It was really difficult to do, but we had some fun doing it. We've taken our kids to all the Performance Club trips. We've been 150 months in Performance Club. But we've gone through the changes. There was PC 5 and 10, and then they took 5 away, and now it's Performance Club. And then they changed the compensation plan and stuck senior director in there. And, then they made it for half a counter as opposed to a full counter. And then they made it, we used to have to qualify as executive director 75 counters. And then they made it 50. And it was like, well, now how does that work? And it was just like, we've gone through so much change, but it's just been a fun ride. And, I was sitting in a university class years and years and years ago. I'm 50 now, so I would have been like 21 or something. And we were watching this movie in my psych class, and the guy in the movie said, you're 35. It was a sort of a counseling session between people, and, you're 35. She goes, yeah, I'm 35. He goes, well, what would you like to be? Well, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a veterinarian. And the professor goes, well, why don't you be a veterinarian? He said, well, by the time I went to school and graduate school and interned and, studied, and then I finally got my papers, got my clinic up and running, it'd be like 7 years. Like, God, I'd be 42 by then. And the guy looks at her and he goes, listen, in 7 years, you're going to be 42 years anyways. Wouldn't it be nice if you were a veterinarian? And I went, boom, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And so I was like, you know what? We started this at 37 years old, so freaking broke, $100,000 and more in debt, living out of 2 homes, dating each other, 3 kids, challenging exes. I mean, it was not exactly the most ideal time to start a business. And we're trying to date. And she's like, we don't have time for each other. Where are we supposed to put this in? Right? And I'm like, well, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And we can't keep doing the same thing. And so we started. We followed the system. We were coachable. I'm kind of going to get into my story, Chris, if I can share my screen here, if that's cool with everybody. So here we go. So that's sort of who we are. So here we are now. That's on stage in Vegas. We were one of the top all-in winners in the entire company. We're going to talk about how we managed to pull that off. I'll get rid of this so that it's out of the way of the income example here in a second. And, we've been PC qualified. We've been PC for life, one of the only 2 non-platinum executive directors to be PC for life qualified, given kudos where kudos are due and worthy to Ted Ma, our running mate. We've been executive directors for 10 years solid, never missed. We've been as high as silver executive directors. We've been regional managers, served in the province of Ontario under Rob and Charlene McKenzie, and now $50,000 ring earners. And 13 years to the day, last September, we earned out our debit balance, and we're now making about $85,000 a year as earned. We're going to get our $100,000 ring as earned, and I'm going to show you how we did it and what we're doing right now. So here's the one thing that you can count on, is that change is absolutely inevitable. When we started the business, these were our 3 kids, and we're hiding in the closets doing 3-way calls and trying not to let the kids know what was going on, because you knew it was going back to the other household, right? And finally, my daughter goes, "What is prepaid legal? You guys are on the phone talking about prepaid legal. What is prepaid legal?" And I used third party, did exactly what we were taught to do, used third party. Sat my 2 kids down. My 2 are on the outside. My wife's daughter, Hannah's in the middle. But I sat my 2 kids down and played the DVD, the Balance of Power DVD, for those of you that have been in long enough to remember that. And at the end of the little 10-minute membership segment, I didn't show them the money because the kids were like 10 and 6 years old. And at the end of the membership part, my oldest turns to my youngest, holds her single finger up and points her finger right in her sister's face. And she says, "We do not tell mommy about prepaid." Because it was the prepaid legal membership that I used in order to get my kids 50% of the time. They'd heard this story being told on 3-way calls. I can hardly say this when I tell the story, I break up every single time, because what's happened, of course, is those 3 girls grew up. And so, I was going to be 50. Wouldn't it be nice if I still had a relationship with my kids? Wouldn't it be nice if, we were able to have the income today to be able to travel around and do what we need to do and do some other fun stuff I'm going to show you in a minute. But this is a picture that they gave us at Christmas time, which was a family photo shoot. They wanted to duplicate that photo. There's a whole bunch of other photos, if you know, on Facebook page, you've seen them, but that's what happens, because, the comp plan's going to change, life's going to change, income rates are going to go up, interest rates are going to go up, the Democrats are going to get out of power, the Republicans are going to get into power, stuff's going to happen, but none of that matters except for what you do inside of your household, because you control your destiny more than anything else. And because of the income that we've had with LegalShield, we've been able to upgrade from a boat that we used to have with the kids as a cottage. We've now been able to go and buy a small little piece of heaven up on a Northern Ontario lake. That's our dock that we built with the kids and my dad's antique boat, and a canoe that we enjoy. And it's just a really quiet, private bay. And we built a little bunkie in the woods, tiny house, basically. There's my mom just sharing with us and going to bed. And this past summer, we decided, the kids were kind of home and in between university stuff. And, we decided we were sick and tired of living in that 36-foot-old motorhome. We decided we were going to build a little house. And there's an excavator in the bottom right-hand corner there. And so we turned around and built a little house ourselves. Still while we were running down to our weekly briefings, still while we were in performance clubs, still while we were taking 3-way calls with our team, and we managed to get it closed in just in time before the snow hit. So that's about 1,000 square foot each level, little house on a lake. That's our view. And that's kind of what sort of grabbed our attention for the last little while. But we stayed in Performance Club because we figured out how to duplicate and show a team. So how did we get to where we are today? You know, how did I dig my way out of debt? How did I dig my way out of feeling, you know, completely beat up by my ex? And it was, you know, number one, personal development. We plugged into the system that LegalShield taught us and really subscribed to the if it's to be, it's up to me philosophy. That nobody was going to come in and rescue my butt from anything. Nobody was going to, you know, drop $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 because, you know, Brad was smart enough to invent some widget that, you know, did something. I'm just an average guy with 3 kids trying to figure out how to make ends meet, falling asleep behind the wheel. And we figured out a system. And so, you know, we've always subscribed to the concept of lifelong learning. I love what the late great Dave Savula says. You know, he says, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting. And I'm like, I never want to be ripe. I'm always learning. I'm always studying. I'm always reading books. And, you know, we're up over 100 books now because we've studied on Rob McKenzie's call every single morning. But it's not about us. It's what about the prospect. It's always been about the team because everybody's plugged into their own radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? So we've always approached our prospects, the people that we approach with our 2 a day and 3 a day and sometimes 1 a day because you just can't find anybody to talk to, from the standpoint of how can I help you? How can I help you? If you think about it, how many people come at you on a daily basis, either email or in person or by text, and all of them want something from you? Can you do this for me? Can you take care of this? Can you respond to this email? Can you make this meeting? And how do you separate yourself out from the masses? You stop asking people, can you watch this DVD for me? You turn around and say, I'd like to help you. And it stops them dead in their tracks and they go, you want to help me? I go, yeah, I want to help you. I see you struggling with the groceries. I see you struggling as a single mom. I listen to your complaints about how your landlord's being a jerk and your ex is this and your boss is that and you don't have money for the kids' skates and blah, blah, blah. I think I can help you. And it stops them dead in their tracks. And you say, listen, a long time ago, somebody shared some information with me that was life-changing. Let me share it with you. And if you see it the way we see it, then let's work together. So it's always about them. And people don't know how much you know until you know how much you care. They don't care that you know the comp plan in and out. They don't care about you know the membership in and out. They don't care that you got a nice car that you drive in and that you know got a cottage up on the lake and that your kids are in university. They don't give a rat's butt. What they care about is how much you care about them, and that's what we've subscribed to. And Zig Ziglar's line I learned a long time ago is if you can help enough people get what they want, you can have anything and everything that you want. So I just encourage everybody to stop chasing executive director. Because when you chase executive director, you got your eyes on your goal and you got your back to your team. Turn around and face your team. Look at them, serve them, ask them, how can I help you? People will chase rank advancement and recognition faster than they will chase anything else because it's a permanent raise. They all started this to earn income. Mike Mealia taught us this concept and we've used it in our organization very effectively. We've built team culture around recognition. I'm literally sitting here where we've done Performance Club dinner in our house. My wife's an amazing cook. That's why I'm overweight. I'm working on that part. And she loves to cook. So after every Super Saturday, we always invited all of our Performance Club team back to our house. So we circled around with the leaders and we brought the new people in that were Performance Club for the very first 1 month or 2 months or whatever. And we broke bread together. We had a little bit of fun together. Looks like you are losing power, Chris. I hope this holds out. You're good. You got a backup generator in Colorado. I understand. Right. And Mike Mealia taught us this when he started coaching us. He said, until one commits oneself, then there's hesitancy, a chance to draw back. But once you commit oneself, then providence moves too. And a series of events unfold that allow you to achieve your dream that no one else could have predicted or otherwise. And I'm sort of paraphrasing this because we don't have time to go through it tonight, but it's from the Scottish Himalayan expeditions from Goethe. Go look it up and memorize it because it really was a massive difference. So how did we get here? We were absolutely consistent. Mike said, if there's a shortcut, there's no shortcuts in this business, but if there was a shortcut, it was Performance Club. And so I figured, you know, I'm stinking broke. I had 3 shirts and 3 ties to my name when I got started. I didn't own a sport coat, and I literally wrote down in the top of my journal which tie I wore with what shirt so that I could get about 9 weeks rotation out of it before I could duplicate the pairing, right? So somebody wouldn't say, I saw you in that shirt last week, because I couldn't remember what I wore. I mean, I couldn't remember what road I took in order to get home. So I couldn't remember last week what I wore to the business briefing. So you got some psychedelic stuff going on there, Chris. This is pretty cool. So I literally wrote in my notes, white shirt, red tie. And I would read back in my notes what I wore so that I could get it. So I didn't want people to know that I was that broke, that I only had 3 shirts and 3 ties. Of course, then we got a suit coat and finally made our way up. But we were absolutely faithfully consistent to the system and persistent. There were months that we literally left it to the last minute because we didn't get stuff done. We were distracted. There were challenges, blah, blah, blah. But we had this I will not be denied attitude. And whereas in my claim to fame, I guess, I've never been the top recruiter until the last 8 weeks. And I just found a niche and sort of went down that rabbit hole. But we've just consistently sponsored 2 new people a month. And that's delivered us performance level. Now, maybe we've sold 2 or 3 other memberships and stuff, but our focus has been on sponsoring people. And I want to make a difference between sponsoring and recruiting. Because when you recruit somebody, you throw spaghetti against the wall and hope it sticks. When you sponsor somebody, you take them under your wing and literally follow through on the promise of, I think I can help you. I think I could change your life. Somebody changed my life. Let me pass that along. Let me share that with you and literally take them under your wing and work with them. And, we've got to recruit a few more people than sometimes the 2 because, some people, they disappear before the ink's dry. I call those the Alien Abduction Society folks. They just disappear. I don't know, get nuked or sucked up by ET or something. So that's really been our focus. And so what has that resulted in? Because we've built under team. We've not gone silly wide. Now, you should listen to your executive director, what their philosophy is. But here's what we've done and here's how we got here. We have 65 directors that we have either personally built to director or sort of grabbed a hold of somebody in a down leg of our organization. When those people have had challenges, we've sort of reached down and taprooted, as Michael Dorsey's taught that phrase many, many times. And so we don't take credit for all of these folks that we personally recruited, but because of the system has found these people that wanted something more in their life. And we've reached down and made friends with those folks. And I give them 100% credit because the coach is nothing more than the coach. The hockey team is the people out on the ice taking the checks and running the plays and being all sweaty. And they've got to put the puck in the net. The coach just coaches it. So I give 100% credit to these 65 directors. They did it. We didn't build anybody. We coached them. They did the work. They sold the memberships. They recruited the people. But what that means is over 13 years, we've always taken a new leg to convention. A brand new leg to convention every single year, and of course encouraged our existing legs to take their, and we've got directors under directors under directors under directors. We've been as high as silver, and we've had 9 people on our team go executive director. And so here's what we talk to our team about, because people will not begin a journey that they don't believe they can complete. If you don't think you can get to Florida, you will not start driving to Florida from Canada. It just won't happen. If you don't think you can finish university, you won't start university. If you don't think you can graduate high school, you won't even try. But if you think you can get to a destination, then you will at least attempt the journey. And so Mike Mealia taught us, allow the promise of the future to motivate you to do the work of today. So here's what we show folks. This is our compensation plan. Everybody knows it. I'm not going to go over it. You guys all know how it works. But it's a bunch of numbers on a page. You got to turn that into an example for folks. Now, I'm not, saying that this is what always happens, but it gets people thinking that, hey, if I could do what Brad showed on that screen, if I could do half of what Brad showed, if I could take 3 times as long to do what Brad's showing on the screen. But leaders paint pictures, and a picture's worth 1,000 words. So here's what we've showed and taught our team. In the first month, let's get you started. Let's get you as an associate 3 personal sales, $49 plan, $60 is $180 in commissions. You get commission for selling the membership. One of those people joins you as a recruit. In your first 20 days in our current comp plan, I've obviously revised this training many, many times over 13 years as the comp plan changed, the bonuses changed. But here's the concept of it, everybody. In your first 20 days, you'll get a $180 bonus. So it's up to me to work with you to help you get that done. Now, right now, we got some pretty incredible Mad Streak bonuses on. You're going to make an extra $50. That's $410 in your first 20 days. Yes, you have to pay $99, but isn't that like a 400% return on your investment? Do you think you can get that on the stock market? Okay, do you think you can get that anywhere legally? Probably not. I know you live in Colorado and you cannabis and all that, but you still can't. So you've sold 3 memberships. We haven't blown the doors off. This is part-time. So now you're a senior associate when you start your second month. Check it out, 25% commission. Who do you know that earns a 25% commission? Nobody. We're paying it. You just doubled your commission with 3 sales. Amazing. So if you could sell 3 families and you could protect 3 families in your first month, but you didn't know anything, do you think with a little bit of belief, you've used your own membership, you've had a deposit hit your bank account, do you think you could go out and sell 3 families again? Earn $120 as opposed to $60, make now $360 in personal commissions and recruit 2 more people? Absolutely. Now, if you could ride a bicycle, could you teach your team to ride a bicycle? Yes. Okay, cool. So if you could level up, do you think you keep your team to level up? So teach your team to do what you already know how to do. That's going to create 9 overrides because you and your team protected 9 more families. So that's not a lot of money. It's $20 an override, but 9 times 20 is $180. That's $180 you didn't have before. So check it out. If you help your team level up, they get a bonus. You get a matching bonus. So I'm teaching the philosophy of Zig Ziglar. Help enough people get what they want. You can have anything you want. $540 to you. When you help your team get a Mad Streak bonus, service first, reward second. Okay, Jim Rohn talks about. That's $150 to you. That's a total of $1,230. Now, if you add the $410 from last month, you've made over $1,600 in your first 60 days. Pretty amazing. Don't thank me. Thank the compensation plan. Thank our founder, Mr. Stonecipher. Thank our CEO today, Mr. Jeff Bell. But check it out, everybody. You've sold 15 memberships. 3 your first month. You sold 3 your second month. Your team sold 9. That's 15 memberships. Guess what? You just got your next raise. So in your third month of business, you're a manager. A 29% commission ratio. Name another profession in the world that offers a 29% commission ratio. It doesn't exist out there. Now, it may not be your third month. What if it was your 6th month? It'd still be better because in 7 years, wouldn't it be great if you were a veterinarian? In 7 years, your kids are going to grow up. They're going to graduate school. You know, as Robin Williams says, your kids are going to grow up and quit college on you too. So you pick the time frame. I'm saying months. It could be years. It's up to you. I'm just showing you what's possible. So if you did it in your first month, you protect 3 families. If you did it in your second month, you protected 3 families. Could you do it in your third month at a higher pay rate, $140? That's going to make you $420 in personal commissions. And you're always going to focus on recruiting 2 new people to your business. So your overrides, management team overrides, you're going to, on your first level, you're going to get 9 $20 overrides. On your second level, you're going to get 27 overrides, $20 a piece. That's an extra $1,140. Added to the $1,640 you made in your first 2 months, it's just shy of $3,000 in 3 months. What will that do for your family? That's $3,000 extra dollars part-time. Yeah, you got to come out to a weekly briefing. Yeah, you got to dial into a Sunday night team call. We got a thing called the 10 core commitments, just 10 little easy things that you can do. Unfortunately, they're easy not to do, but the people that are successful do them. And that's how Moira and I, my wife and I, have been successful. This is what we've done. I'm just teaching you what I know. But here's the interesting thing, guys. You and your team have now sold 54 memberships. You got to sell 50 team memberships to go senior manager, get another pay raise. Congratulations. In 3 months, because you duplicated a proven system, you've now at the senior manager position. Why is that important? Because I want you to see that it's very possible, following a system, working with my coaching, working with coaching your team. Now, you may have to recruit a few more people because some people won't do it. But what if this is possible for you? You could create a senior manager position in just 3 months. Now, if it's possible to do it in 3 months, what could a year from today look like? Leaders paint pictures. Let me show you what your life could look like maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 5 years from now. You pick the time frame, but here's what's possible with our compensation plan. Let's say that you duplicated this for 12 months. You would have 3 legs of your organization. Some would be maybe at the director level. Some would maybe be at the senior director level. Some would maybe be brand new, and they'd be at the senior manager level 3 months in. But about a year from now, because, you know, in 7 years, wouldn't it be nice if you were a veterinarian? About a year from now, if you're following the system, you would be an executive director earning 58% commissions, guys. What is that going to do for you? Well, you get paid 3 families. Now, check this out, okay? I'm not talking about blowing the doors off here. I'm talking about 3 membership sales a month and recruiting a couple of people. So over 12 months, you've only sold 36 people. The average adult knows 200, 250 people. I'm only asking you to protect 36 of those in 12 months. Could you do that part-time? That's like 1 a week, not even 1 a week. Could you do that? Well, if you did it consistently, you'd be an executive director at $280. You'd make $840 personally. That's more than you made in a whole month in your first month in business. But check it out. If you were overriding a senior manager leg that you taught and coached and trained just a few small people in that leg, it's not blowing the doors out, just 4 associates, and they're doing Performance Club 90. They're recruiting 2 families and selling 2 memberships. That's 8 families. We're not blowing the doors off here. That's very believable. Would you agree with me? And they say, yeah, it's been okay. Well, that would mean that you would earn $120 override on those 8 families. That would pay you $960 to continue to work with that senior manager leg. What if you overrode a director leg and there was 7 people in that little team that you started to help somebody get to the top permanent position in the company, and them and 6 other people were marketing 3 memberships each so that they were in Performance Club 90. There was a little bit of recruiting going on, but not a whole lot. But you would have 21 families protected, because, folks, we get paid on membership sales. Yes, we get paid on recruiting down the road when we help those people protect families, but we always get paid on membership sales. That would be an extra $1,800 because it's 21 overrides at $90. Now, it's less money, but it's more volume, so it's way more money. What if you were overriding a senior director? Like, people say, I don't want to get my team too close to me. I don't want to get my, no, you don't understand the concept, because if you help enough people get what they want, they get everything that you want. If you were overriding a senior director leg, now that might be your first senior manager leg from 9 months ago. They kept going. They kept duplicating the system, right? But you got a 3-legged stool here. You'd have about 10 people in that little leg, still working, and they're protecting 2 families each. They're recruiting a couple of people because that's what you taught them to do. They're in Performance Club 90. They would have 20 families in that leg, and you'd earn a $50 override. It's less money, but it's on pretty good volume. So you'd make an extra $1,000 out of that leg. Your team commissions would pay you about $3,800. But more importantly, you would have changed people's lives because you got 7 to 10 people into Performance Club. Because, see, that's what changed our life, was getting into Performance Club, because we were consistent. The checks started showing up, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So now you've had the ability through a proven system to affect 7 to 10 people's lives on a very, very part-time basis, and the company's going to pay you about $4,600, including your personal commissions, and you've protected 52 families as an executive director. Folks, that's $56,000 a year part-time from home. There are people that sling burgers at McDonald's that don't make that, and they get told when they have to show up. They get told when they can go pee. Now, I'm not discounting jobs, but I was the guy that was sick and tired of being at a job. I was falling asleep behind the wheel. I didn't know how I got from work to home, and I could have killed somebody. Somebody showed me a way to get out of the proverbial rat race. Somebody showed me a way through a proven system with an incredible product, Jim Rohn would say, to earn this kind of money from home so I could be there to take my kids to school when it was -20 for an entire month in February. I didn't have to pay daycare. I didn't have to pay somebody else to raise my kids. I was home for dinner every night. I was at every sporting event. I was there when they came home from their moms and turned into a ball of goo for 24 hours. But also, if you follow our proven system right now, if you continue to do that for another year, you get about $15,000 in executive director bonuses, $5,000 up front, and $1,000 a month for the following 12 months, paying a $15,000 bonus. You'd be in Performance Club because you'd be in your second year of Performance Club for that to earn that. You'd make $2,400 in personal bonuses, $2,400 in matching bonuses, and these are conservative numbers, guys. These are conservative numbers, because your team's going to continue to duplicate that. That's a $75,000 part-time business from home. That's the same as $150,000 slugging something for somebody else's dream, and it's got no residuals attached to it. Check it out. You'd have about $10,000 in residuals, and if you kept doing that for 13 years, you'd earn out too. And that's what we've done. I understood the comp plan. I knew that the product worked. I knew the company had money in the bank. I did exactly what the people that told me to do. I was broke. I was flat friggin' broke. And I needed a way out. And I was willing to do whatever they told me to do. I asked a lot of questions in order to understand. I asked not to challenge, but to understand. And we just followed the system. And that's what it's resulted in for us. And I paint this picture for you, Mr. Prospect or brand new associate, or somebody that's been stuck at a level for a while. I paint this picture and say, you know what, here's what's possible. You pick your timeline. I've said you can go senior manager in 3 months. That's not a guarantee of income. It's a possibility. It's up to you to go work the system. It's up to you to go sell the membership. It's up to you to plug into the system and show up to your weekly briefing and show up to your Super Saturday and have a team culture building potluck pizza party. You know, if you don't like to cook, then just order in Domino's. I don't care, whatever works, right? And make it work. And so that's how we've done it, guys. I'm going to end the slideshow here. Chris, I'm happy to answer any questions. I probably took up way more time than I was allowed, but that's the way it goes. So I will turn the call back to you, sir.
No, are you kidding? The questions are rolling in. First and foremost, that was unbelievable. I got an incredible lot of notes. I know you're going to share that slideshow presentation with me. But no,
I got to be really careful that I slide that, because the company doesn't want you doing income testimonials, right?
Oh, I know. No, you're absolutely right.
That's a team training.
Right. Exactly. One of the questions that came in was about, you had mentioned at the beginning of the call that you were never a rock star recruiter until recently you found a niche market. You want to explain to us a little bit more about what you were referring to?
You know, I'm almost embarrassed to talk about what's happened recently, because I didn't plan it. You know, I'm always the guy that kind of ducks the spotlight. I don't want, you know, because Moira and I aren't, you know, Brian Crothers. We're not Darnell Self. We're not, you know, Craig Hepner, and we're just doing our little thing here in frozen Northern Ontario. And what we've done is be consistent with 2 recruits a day. But what I did was I built relationships with those people that I recruited. And so one of the guys that I recruited, you know, called me and he said, Brad, how do I get in LegalShield? And I'm like, you are in LegalShield. He goes, no, that's with the old company. And I'm forming this new company and I want to get in. And so I worked with him for 6 years, building the relationship. He took me into an association and said, I've been working with this guy for 6 years. His integrity's through the roof. I've trusted him. Every time I've sent a client to him, he's always signed it up. He's a great referral program. And, you know, let me show you the money. And so I showed the people that he referred me to exactly the presentation that I just showed all of you guys. And they're like, Brad, sign me up. And so I found a niche marketplace. It's taken me 6 years to build the relationship. You know, lots of blood, sweat, and tears, and going out and doing a presentation that the guy didn't buy, and I mean, all kinds of stuff. So if I took this number of recruits that we've got in these last sort of condensed months and spread them over the 6 years, then I still wouldn't make the top recruiter board. It's just the way the pressure cookers seem to push it out. And you know, people are you trying to chase it? No, I'm doing what's right for the member. I'm doing what's right for their family. I'm doing what's right for you know, the person that approaches me. And I've literally been pushing some of them away, especially over Christmas. I'm like, if you're going to sign up, you're going to work with me because I want you to get your $180 bonus. And they're like, well, I'm going away. And I'm like, you ain't signing up right now. Call me when you get back, right? I've been pushing the recruits away because it's got to be their time. It's got to be the right time for them I'm not, I don't even read, when I get a phone call from home office about recognition, that like, Brad, guess what? I'm like, what? And they're like, you're your top recruiter. And I'm like, how many? Because I don't even keep track. I don't even keep track. That's not what I'm chasing. I'm doing what's right for my business. I'm doing what's right for the team. And that's what we focused on. So culture building's been a huge thing. You can see my Amelia family hat, work, play, love. The culture and the fun, because if you're not having fun in this business, you're doing it wrong. Simple as that. Y'all need to be in Dallas. There are going to be game changer announcements. As executive directors, we're on a call